For those of you joining here today,
Recording is on.
yeah, for those of you joining here today, if you see me and other people, but you would like to see Christian's screen in full screen, then please click on the small box of Christian and it will put it then in full screen.
Okay, thanks a lot, David, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 16th event of our Impact Investor Circle, Geneva, Zug, and Lusaka series, which was launched in November 2020 under the theme Improving Access to Impact Capital for SMEs in Africa. So during the first 8 episodes, we covered the most important players in the Zambian impact investing ecosystem with a particular focus on the market enablers and the suppliers of impact capital. And then we spent the last quarter of last year in Tanzania and the first quarter of this year in Nigeria. So during the second quarter of this year, we launched the fourth series, which is focusing on an impact investing ecosystem in Ghana in general and the role of the market enablers that they're playing in connecting entrepreneurship and the UN SDGs in Ghana. Okay. So let me start by looking at the supply of social investment in West Africa through the prism of these 6 ECOWAS members. Increasingly diverse mix of social investors are actually actively deploying capital in West Africa. Research done by the African Venture Philanthropic Alliance, AVPA, identified over 250 social investors operating across these 6 focus countries, with the majority, that is 142, based in Nigeria. And the second largest number, 101, are based in Ghana. And it should be said that some of the players are active in multiple countries, and thus the country totals are not equal to the total number of investors as identified by AVPA. In Ghana, 35 of these investors are in a category of the so-called sustainability aligned fund managers, and 12 are development fund institutions, and 22 are corporate social investors. In fact, the number of social investors headquartered in the region is on the rise, with West Africa-based family foundations and corporate social investors accounting for 4% and 10% of the total active investors in the West African region, respectively. The DFIs provide the largest amount of impact capital in West Africa, with investment mostly targeting growth in mature states, sustainable businesses that can absorb large amount of capital. The DFIs have particularly been active in the financial inclusion space, providing on-lending capital and credit guarantees to financial service providers. The proportion has been decreasing over the years as DFIs are increasingly shifting their strategies to invest through fund managers, as some of you might have heard today when the British International Investment presented their annual review in London. The largest proportion of sustainability aligned fund managers deals, that is 66%, were made into early stage enterprises with ticket sizes less than $500,000 of US dollars, indicating an increasing pool of investable enterprises at this stage, driven by a large number of incubators present in the region, and some of which whose presentation we will be listening to in today's webinar. The sustainability aligned fund managers have primarily focused on financial services, agriculture, and energy sectors, giving the potential for higher returns in these sectors, focusing on fintechs, agri-tech, and pay-as-you-go solar business models. This slide shows the type of financing requirement for various types of organization at various stages of growth. So when it comes to demand for social investment in West Africa, the supply of social investment capital in this region is not well aligned to the demand from the social enterprises and impact businesses. And the AVPA study identified only 592 enterprises that raised funding from sustainability aligned fund managers and the DFIs between 2015 and 2019. This could be attributed to the low quality of social enterprises in terms of being investment ready. The growth of tech-based entrepreneurship, particularly in Nigeria and Ghana, has given rise to innovative enterprises addressing challenges primarily in the financial services and healthcare sectors. And these startups have attracted the largest proportion of venture capital funding, giving the high return expectation from these models. Unlike East Africa, the West African entrepreneurship space consist of more local entrepreneurs, actually 90% in Ghana and 95% in Nigeria, than expatriates. Consequently, more funding in the region has gone to locally funded enterprises or founded enterprises. On the other hand, Nigeria and Ghana respectively have only 15 and 13% of enterprises with female co-founders compared to 25% in Kenya. The AVPA research identify common challenges facing most social enterprises and startups across the West African countries as outlined on this slide. For example, if you look at on the demand side challenges, many enterprises across the focus countries are mainly aware of debt and grant as funding instruments. And there's a lack of understanding of other instruments such as equity, convertible notes, and mezzanine, which disadvantages the entrepreneurs doing a negotiation with the investors. Another challenge with regard to the ecosystem level is the concentration of support providers in the urban areas, because most of the ecosystem support organizations are located in main cities with minimal reach to enterprises operating in rural areas, as we'll hear more about when the Global River Center will be presented by Elizabeth. So the rule-based enterprises thus experiences challenges accessing capacity building and investment readiness support, as well as information on the investment opportunities. So today we are focusing mainly on the so-called support providers, which, as you have just heard, are mainly concentrated in the urban areas. In other words, most of the ecosystem support organizations are located in main cities in Ghana with minimal reach to enterprises operating in rural areas. This is an overview of the enabling environment for social investment across these three focus countries. And the enabling environment for social investment, particularly around policy and regulations, remain underdeveloped, as we've heard from the NAP Ghana in our previous webinar. Further, while an increase in support has been witnessed for early stage enterprises, there's a dearth of quality and affordable support providers for the growth stages and mature enterprises, which in my humble opinion is similar to the mistake which was done with the Millennium Development Goals, where all of the focus of support for general education was done at the primary education level and not so much on the secondary and higher general education levels. So we hope that our presenters today will show us that this is no longer the case to the same extent, since the AVPA study that I'm referring to was done almost 3 years ago. So according to startupblink.com, the Ghana startup ecosystem is an emerging innovation hub ranked at number 82 globally, although showing a negative momentum of -1 spot since 2021. And Ghana also ranked as number 3 for startups in Western Africa. Ghana is an ideal place to locate for fintech, software, and data and food tech startups. And on the Startup Blink Global Startup Ecosystem Map, there is a sample of 51 startups in Ghana, 3 co-working spaces in Ghana, that is Tuapa Workspace, Takoradi Innovation Center, and Harbor Space. There's also one accelerator in Ghana on that map, that is Kumasi Hive, which is a multi-space innovation hub, which provides a platform for rapid prototyping of ideas, supporting local innovation, and impact startup for promoting entrepreneurship. And last but not least, as you know, Africa is often underestimated and overlooked region when it comes to mega hubs for innovation compared to the US and Europe. And yet the continent has some of the fastest growing and seriously innovative ecosystem in the world. The best startup cities in Africa are number 1, Nairobi in Kenya, Lagos in Nigeria, Cape Town in South Africa, Johannesburg in South Africa, Cairo, Kigali in Rwanda. Number 7 is Tunis. Number 8 is Kampala. And at the 9th place, you find Accra, the capital of Ghana, ahead of Casablanca and Morocco. So the Startup Blink ranks the startup ecosystem in 100 countries and more than 1,000 cities. And there's only one seat in Ghana ranked in the top 1,000. And the top ranked seat in Ghana is, of course, Accra at 296 globally, based on quantity, quality, and business scores. And the city, in a similar fashion to the country as a whole, has seen some major improvement, and thus that includes receiving direct foreign investment from various organizations like the Ghana Startup Capital Fund, the Ghana India Kofi Annan Center of Excellence in ICT, and 3-Day Startup. These programs confirm that entrepreneurship is spreading, not only in the capital, but across the country as well. So this country is well known for the mobile payment application and is home to some of the startup successes like Migasa, Digital, and Express Pay. Okay, so today's event includes the audience, introduces the audience to a number of leading practitioners within Accra's impact investing ecosystem, namely the so-called market enablers. And the agenda is therefore structured as follows. First, Mr. David Franson, the COO of Endness, will present why he thinks that Endness should become the home of Ghana's impact enterprises and market enablers. This introduction will be followed by part one of the core program, where the founders, CEOs, and the directors of 7 of Ghana's leading market enablers will present the role that they play in making Ghana a more attractive tech and impact investment destination. And this will then be followed by part 2, where specific questions to the presenter will be raised by me as moderator. And there will also be an opportunity for a short exchange with the audience and attending today's event. And the event ends with a few concluding remarks regarding the 4IP Group ESG Toolkit and the next steps for participant and investors, as well as the next events. This is a live session. It's being recorded and will be uploaded on both the 4IP Group and the Swiss Impact Investing Association's YouTube channels before the end of this week, and shared with all prospective and actual impact investors investing in ECOWAS and in Ghana, in hope that they, through their investment, will assist Ghana's market enabler scale up their capacity building programs so that the Ghanaian impact enterprises can scale up their solutions for the Sustainable Development Goals, thereby contributing to shifting Ghana towards the so-called leapfrogging impact technology economy. So let me quickly present the house rule. Please turn off your microphone whenever you're not speaking throughout the entire event, in order not to disturb the speakers and the listeners. And during the Q&A, remember to introduce yourself by name and affiliation and keep the questions short. And please do feel free to use the chat box to introduce yourself and raise pertinent questions during the Q&A. So, David, over to you.
Yes, thank you so much, Christian. And great to be here. Thank you for having me. I'd like to take a moment to, of course, introduce myself a little bit. My name is David Franzen. I am, as Christian said, the COO of Endnest, the platform that is currently hosting this webinar here. And in short, maybe what is a good thing to start with is what essentially is Endnest. And Endnest is a professional platform focused on supporting entrepreneurs in a nutshell. And we have built Endnest with 3 fundamental points that we believe will have a strong impact on the way in which that we can really truly improve the impact and success rate of entrepreneurs everywhere, which is in fact our mission. And these 3 key pillars are, first and foremost, the concept of being an invite-only platform. And the point of this is that we know that when it comes to starting a business and growing a business and setting up a successful business, you have to work with people that you trust and people that can add value to your business, quite simply. So Endnest is invite-only, which means that to gain access to the entirety of the platform, of course, you may join this webinar. Some of you may not yet be members of Endnest. But in order to join the platform where you can find a number of events and tools, and I'll get into that a little bit further, you must be invited by an existing member. So maybe something that I could recommend you, Christian, to do in the meantime, if you could perhaps find the invite code of the 4IP group and perhaps share that into the chat. I think that would be great for anybody that's not yet a member to be able to sign up. So once you are, the point of the invite only is, of course, really to create a curated space only for entrepreneurs and people that work with entrepreneurs so that we have a trusted, quality-based community. The second fundamental pillar is the concept of integration and aggregation of tools. We notice now that more and more entrepreneurs and more support organizations, so co-working spaces, incubators, accelerators, investment groups, etc., use a vast number of different tools. Each, of course, with their own benefits, which of course makes sense. But the problem from the macro perspective is that needing to shift between all of these tools can lead to severe inefficiencies and lack of productivity. So what we've done within Endnest is that we have decided to, in some cases, build our own versions of certain tools. But in some other cases, we have made integrations with other tools. So for example, as we see here, we have a fully functioning one-on-one and video conferencing solution. We also have the ability, of course, to chat, to send files. You have the ability to organize both private and public groups. We have a smart matching algorithm so that based on your offers and based on your needs, the system will automatically match you with other members. We have room and space booking, which is a very valuable tool for co-working spaces, etc. So the point is that we want our members, our trusted members, to be able to use EntNest for at least the majority of the things that they need to do within their company, but of course also in promoting their products, promoting their services, finding funding, etc. And the third fundamental pillar, which actually in my personal opinion is actually my favorite and I think going to be the most impactful of the fundamental pillars, is that we would really like to see EntNest become even more of a network of networks. And what I mean by this is that we believe that innovation can truly solve the global issues that we face. And as a result, it's very important that individuals, society, and the world as a whole support entrepreneurship. So it's great to see more and more entrepreneurship support organizations come to life. However, a problem is that most of these initiatives work very independently from one another, right? If you're in a co-working space, you're probably very well connected with the other members of that co-working space, but probably not so very well connected with people outside of that co-working space. And so if you take a macro perspective now of, for example, Ghana, you have these hotspots that are probably internally connected, but not connected across with each other. So what we have built with EntNest is the ability for any single support organization, so again, co-working space, incubator, accelerator, investment group, governmental organization, university, etc., to host within EntNest a private community for just their community. But for the first time through EntNest, it's also possible for your members of that private community to go beyond your private community and to connect, of course, with members of other communities, etc. So it becomes a network of networks. So we don't want to just support individual initiatives, but we want to support the whole ecosystem. And that, I think, is going to be the key driver in really improving the impact and success rate of entrepreneurs everywhere. So I'm very proud to be here. I'm very proud to host this webinar this series of webinars together with Christian and the 4IP group. Very eager to hear a little bit more about the initiatives that we have present here today. As mentioned, we'd love to invite you all into EntNest. If there's any things that you specifically are looking for, whether it is a digital community tool, whether it is looking for talent, if it's looking for funding, if it's looking for ideas, then please also do contact me and we'll be happy to help. Of course later on.
More, David, about after the meeting, the advantages of using EntNest compared to Zoom in terms of if people want to reach out to the speakers.
Absolutely. That's a great point, Christian. Thank you very much for raising that. One of the pillars, of course, is the aggregation and integration of tools, right? So the alternative to EntNest is to use, for example, Zoom for a call like this, and then after the call to stay in touch via LinkedIn. And then if we wanted to organize a group, you might set that up with some other tool, right? So the advantage here with EntNest is that within the platform, we are hosting the event here in the platform. And of course, after the platform, you can find all of these members also in the same platform. So it's very easy to simply click on the name of any of the members, assuming you're a logged in member of EntNest. It'll take you directly to that member's profile so that you can easily continue the conversation with anybody that you find interesting here during the event. We will also be uploading a file into the event in EntNest with an overview of all of the event participants that will enable you easily to just scroll through and see if anybody could be relevant for you. And of course, then again, you'll be able to easily click on their name to continue a conversation thereafter. Yes, thank you, Christian.
Thank you so much, David. So now we move on to the core part of the program, and we are very honored as our first speaker to have Mr. Nelson Amo. Mr. Nelson Amo is the CEO of InnoHub. It's a business accelerator, management consulting, and impact investing platform. So, Mr. Amo, over to you.
Thank you very much, and a good day to everyone based on where you're joining from, whether it's good morning, afternoon, or evening. I'm pleased to be on this platform and quite some interesting conversations around connecting entrepreneurship and the SDGs, looking at the role of market enablers. And I'll try to really do justice to this particular point. But as a way of background, when we talk about meeting the SDGs, I mean, two main failures come to mind. Talk of market failures, talk of state failures, and those are the things that we saw, particularly MDGs, where you saw a lot of action, a lot of interest around government and also around NGOs who try to address some of these challenges. And market players also just remained more interested around what you would see as profit generating or revenue enhancing initiatives. So you had market failures, you had state failures that affected the achievement of the MDGs by most economies or most countries. Now, fast forward, the world is really pushing around what you call the SDGs, and we have 2030 as the big year where we want to see a lot of traction on the SDGs. How do we make sure that you don't have the same result or the same narrative around the failures of the MDGs, particularly market failures and state failures, and you have the right kind of attention given to that? How do you drive energies of young entrepreneurs towards the kind of things that the SDGs seek to address? And how do you give momentum to such entrepreneurs who already have an interest in addressing some of these things? And for me, these are the kind of questions which influence the establishment of InnoHub. So at the point of starting InnoHub, then I was pursuing a master's degree at LSE, taking a course in international development, and where there's so much conversations around the transitioning from the MDGs to the SDGs. What do we have to do differently? And for me, so one of the key moments was when we began looking at what do you do to make sure there is enough attention sustainably to food security, to poverty, to education, to climate, and what have you. Clearly, if we go the same modules of NGOs trying to do some of these things, you clearly would get to the point where there is little result in spite of the passion that they would always have. And market would surely not find some of these things attractive as well. So how do we blend what you call enlightened self-interest with potential for impact around what the world is seeking to achieve? And for me, as InnoHub, the whole approach has been around the right kind of program design, which would at the core of it be businesses and interested players, and particularly also funding sources who have an interest in these SDGs, and looking at various frameworks that would bring this conversation to become the bedrock of entrepreneurship, where it's not more business as usual, but we call it business as impact. So as an accelerator, our focus really has been around how do we support businesses who have that commitment to impact in terms of the various pillars of the SDGs, and how can we help them to sustainably scale up what they do. And as they do that, they would be able to achieve the right kind of results and also generate the revenues that they need, possibly make a profit and sustain what they are doing. And also, how do we connect capital providers to these kind of entrepreneurs? How do we make capital providers to see that this is an attractive area to put your capital and still get the right kind of returns? How do we begin to drive more conversations on people, shared prosperity, and the planet? And this is a conversation that we need to keep having between various players, both capital holders as well as entrepreneurs, to make sure there is the right kind of attraction and tipping point towards what you have to do. For most enablers, and in this case, I speak not as an authority and on behalf of all enablers, but by virtue of our experience doing this in Ghana, I would try to really hone in some of the lessons that we have covered or captured from what we're doing. For most enablers who are working with entrepreneurs, the key point has been, let's make this business investment ready. And when we're done, believe and hope that some way, somehow they could go on the market and raise the capital. And for me, the conversation really has been, how do we connect the dots between the capital holders and these businesses? How do we get investors who are typically in a traditional mode to begin to think about things like food security, about things like climate, about health, about gender issues, life below water, life below, and all of these conversations that typically you don't find in the boardrooms of traditional businesses and traditional investors. And how do we as enablers begin to point the light towards some of these conversations? And for me, I will be sharing some examples of initiatives we've done that sought to get businesses to begin to really rethink of the areas of impact and how they could make impact at the core of the business, and not to see impact as a CSR or a nice thing to do after you've made all the money and you smile into the bank. You could just begin to throw in a few coins as what you call your CSR activities. In designing our accelerator program, one would be, what kind of businesses do we even admit into the program? We're very clear in communicating opportunities to the market that you need to be addressing this particular area of impact. Some of our programs have been sector agnostic, whilst others are focused on particular themes. And as I mentioned, I'll share some examples in here. We have climate themed accelerator programs that we run. We also have others that seek to focus on job creation. We have others that are looking at sectors like really what you would call impact at the bottom of the pyramid. And how do we attract ventures who sometimes don't even know the opportunities to be able to support them, to get to know some of these opportunities and come in for support. But as we do that, how do we begin to get them to think around or beyond what they are passionate about, just the impact to building sustainable business models? And that is where we look at impact business models that really go beyond just, I want to achieve impact, I want to help the climate, I want to help reduce plastic waste, I want to help create jobs, I want to do this too. I can do this sustainably, I can do this profitably, I can do this scalably. And by experience, we've noticed a number of, well, most of these ventures we talk to typically don't have the question of scale at the heart of their model. So they start, and it's always thinking small and thinking very, very myopic in the picture. And they're always thinking of, how can I get a grant to support what I do? And we now begin to bring in the situation. If you don't get a grant and you find an investor who is looking for their money back, how can you have a model that would begin to work and generate the kind of returns they are looking for? And if you have an investor who beyond the money are also looking for their impact, how are you able to design a business model which is able to bring the right kind of returns in terms of shared prosperity, and also create the right kind of impact either on people or on the planet? So enablers should be able to curate some of these conversations and drive attention to make sure that it is a part of the things that we're doing all the time. Some of the examples I'll be sharing on the things we've designed. We have what is called the Ghana Climate Venture Facility, which we thankfully had World Bank funding to design. And essentially that designed a fund, and that was the first ever fund in Ghana that had a clear focus on investing in SMEs in the country who are very much on the climate theme or the climate tangent. And the second component of this program was also a pre-investment TA facility, which was on the background that if you have a fund that is looking for climate-themed ventures, they may be on the market for 3-4 years and they won't find these businesses. But once we design this kind of program, which is making the ventures in that sector investment ready, it becomes a pipeline building mechanism for the fund. And thankfully, after 2 years of the fund, they've been able to do quite some interesting deals, some of which have been businesses that we provided that kind of investment readiness support for, and help them to really define what they do. A fund really wants to look at the box and say, do you meet them? If you don't meet them, it's a no. But in this case, if you don't meet them, you are able to come through this kind of program that we had, and as a TA grant that provides the support for them to be able to do that. We
Okay,
currently
Mr.
have
Emo,
another.
just 1 minute left, please, Mr. Emo. Yeah,
Yes, I'm basically wrapping up. We have another program called the Develop PPP with GIZ funding, which has a budget of about 1.4 million euro. That is to invest in about 14 Ghanaian SMEs. And you need to clearly show which of the SDGs you are meeting as a business. And as part of that, there's also the pre-investment TA, where we provide support for you to be able to address particular elements of your business. And then based on that, you are now able to attract. And there's a co-invest opportunity where we now also catalyzing or leveraging on this funding to be able to get more local investors and other investors to invest in the ventures in the Ghanaian ecosystem. So you could creatively, we have another program called a Feedback, which was basically looking at businesses who can clearly show their impact on BOP populations. And if you can do that, you could get support in pre-investment TA, and every year we have a number of them who are funded by the program. And as we seek to design all of these initiatives, concluding remarks and concluding thoughts or questions would be, how do we empower, or how do we have enablers who are empowered and resourced enough to be able to help entrepreneurs connect to the SDGs? How do we make acceleration more effective than it is now? How do we go beyond the cities, as you mentioned, Christian, to the places where you need a lot more impact? And how do we also have accelerators who are able to retain the right kind of quality staff they need, and also attract the right kind of quality pipeline who can work with them and possibly make them investment ready in the process? I think these are conversations that we've always pushed under the table. And if we really want to have market enablers who are able to play the right role, we need to be able to ask some of these questions and find the right answers to them. And in doing that, we can find results. I believe that as we start the conversation, more questions will come up, and we'll be happy to come back to share more insights on that. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Amo. That's one of the reasons why we are very happy to have you on board today, because not only did you raise a number of very pertinent questions at the end, but I think it's amazing the kind of work that you're doing in InnoHub. So thank you for sharing that on a very short time span. Very much appreciated. So, well, any further ado, we'll jump to our next speaker, which is Mrs. Emily Fiagbetsi. She's the Director of Training Program for MEST Africa, which is an Africa-wide technology entrepreneur training, internal seed funding, and network of hubs. So, Mrs. Emily, over to you.
Hello, good afternoon to everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Really a pleasure to be on this call and be with other individuals and organizations in the ecosystem. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about MEST Africa this afternoon. I was hoping to share a presentation, but I think I'll just go without it at this point here. But for those who are not familiar, MEST Africa is an Africa-wide technology entrepreneurship training program, internal seed fund, and network of hubs. We are offering incubation for technology startups across the African continent. And we were established on the premise that talent is everywhere, but opportunity is not. And so MEST really aims to create opportunities for individuals who are interested in entrepreneurship and technology to create their businesses with the ultimate goal of creating impact, wealth, and jobs on the continent. We were founded back in 2008 in Ghana, and since 2008, we have steadily expanded across the continent. We accept individuals in our 12-month training program from the entire continent, but we focus specifically on Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Ivory Coast, and as of 2022, Senegal. But we have representation of up to 30 different countries in our training program at any given time. So how do we support entrepreneurs in the ecosystem? We do that through three main pillars. It's training, funding, and a network of hubs. And so we have various programs that we run. The program that we established MEST with is a 1-year graduate level training program. It's fully sponsored, and we take anywhere to 60 to 70 African tech entrepreneurs from the continent. They spend a whole year studying business, technology, and communications, and throughout the program are building viable businesses that will then go out into the market and hopefully create jobs and wealth and solve African problems with African solutions. We also have our incubator, which is where our businesses that we invest in come out of our training program go afterwards if they are a viable business and receive seed investment. And our incubator hosts a variety of portfolio companies that are across sectors. So we invest in viable businesses anywhere on the continent and across sectors. So this includes business services, real estate, agriculture, data and information services, financial services, energy and environment, health and wellness, fashion and beauty, media and entertainment, and beyond. As of 2020, we expanded our impact by partnering with the MasterCard Foundation's Africa Works program, and we now offer 3 additional programs. Those programs are Pre-MEST, which is a digital skills training program that matches trainees with job opportunities. MEST Express, which is a 20-week accelerator program for growth to early stage startups, and MEST Scale, which is a venture acceleration program enabling SMEs to scale their growth. We do this work not alone, but with key partners in the ecosystem. So we work with both nonprofits and the private sector, as well as public partners, to ensure that we are making the most impact that we can. And to date, we have trained over 500 entrepreneurs in our 1-year training program. We have given out $28 million of total pre-seed investment. We have funded 80 plus businesses. We've reached over 30 African countries, created 750 jobs, and an additional 200 direct jobs. So that's a little bit about MEST Africa. Happy to talk more about our work or answer any questions a little bit later.
Thank you so much, Emily. I'm actually surprised. I haven't heard about you before, giving the fantastic work that you're doing across Africa. So we're really delighted that you took time off to be with us tonight. Very much appreciated. And I'm sure that our guest must have a number of questions to ask you during the Q&A. But we'll move on to the next speaker. This is Mrs. Queen Elizabeth Edwards. She's the founder of Tech for Her Africa and also community lead of Global Artificial Intelligence. I suppose AI stands for HUB. So Mrs. Queen Elizabeth, over to you. I saw she had a problem. She sent me a message early on, but then she said she had fixed it. David, can you see her? She's not.
Yes, sorry. Who's the speaker again? It's Elizabeth.
The first speaker. Yeah, Elizabeth Edwards. I saw her on. I don't know what.
I see an Elizabeth Boy with her camera on now.
She's another speaker.
Okay, yeah. Great. We'll hear from you later then, I guess. Elizabeth, I don't see another Elizabeth in the call.
Okay, I saw she was on before, but I'll try and reach out to her, and then we'll continue, and then she will come in afterwards. So we'll go over to the next speaker, which is actually a Danish compatriot.
I do have Elizabeth Edwards having joined just now. If that's
okay, Elizabeth Boy, we'll wait for you, and we'll stick to the program. Okay, Mrs. Edwards, are you there?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I had a unusual in my network. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
we can hear you very well. So if you're ready, we are ready to listen to you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Okay. 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 Just a second. Let me share my screen.
Christian, you may need to make her a moderator for her to share her screen.
I don't know if you can help because I don't see her on the screen.
Oh, I notice I have the ability to do so as well. So I've done it. Yes, no no action needed from you, Christian. Elizabeth, you should now be able to share your screen, which you can do by if you move your mouse, you can see that little blue pop up at the bottom. The third option from the left is an icon of a screen, and if you click there, it will give you the option to share your screen.
So while Elizabeth Edwards is preparing herself, she's a former UN Youth Ambassador. She's also a MEST Africa Ambassador. We just heard it from MEST. And one of the top 5 female tech entrepreneurs in Africa, has featured on CNN's Women in Tech Africa. And she's also featured on Europe's Global Women Social Entrepreneurs. Are
Okay.
you ready,
Thank you.
Elizabeth?
I'm
Yeah.
doing that.
Okay. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Good evening, and thank you for having me. So I have 5 minutes to kind of do a presentation on what we do at Tech for Africa, and I'm going to do just that. Yes. So my name is Elizabeth Edwards, and I'm the founder of Tech for Africa. So we started in 2015, and it's just been one goal for us to increase the representation of women in STEM, like yes. Now one very unique thing we do is that okay, we're not just trying to get more women to learn how to code. Okay, the drive is to help them to be able to adapt, to learn STEM technology skills and know how to apply as a fashion designer, as a musician, like just any roles. But of course, our strategic um, purpose is to increase the technology skill set and technology knowledge and access to technology jobs. So as a summary, what we are focused on as an organization is to um, help more women, more jobs. So kind of expanding, economic opportunities for them, so they can take up, new careers as, digital roles. More roles are open right now with technology and all that. Yes, our message is to get girls excited about technology. We reach out to young girls, and we have programs for women as well, women working, women studying, and women just women generally. Yes. So now, what we do is actually summarized in three SDG goals, which are to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls, and also to reduce inequality within and among countries. So we currently work in 7 countries, and Ghana is one of our where we work through. We have country ambassadors and program managers in these countries. Yes, and our goal, the second goal is to reduce it. The third goal is to promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, decent work for all. Yes. So we want more women to launch into more decent jobs, very high paying jobs, right? Learning how to code, learning how to adapt digital skills, how to be competitive in the modern workplace. Yes. Now, our program outcome, like everything we do, is just based what we are always looking to achieve is to ensure for our girls we have this team diva for young girls, middle school girls. So we introduce them early enough to technology subject concept to help them think about tech when they're making the decision, because we realize that for we to actually tackle the gender divide that we currently have, we need to like trace it back to wait, the origin of it, which is that point when they make that decision. So we want to be right there, um, to have invested in them enough to make the right, well-informed decisions, for the future. So one program outcome is to launch a career path in STEM or tech. Also, secondly, to competently enter STEM jobs. And thirdly, to launch a startup. So one of the startups that was launched at Tech4R was called Tataful, and we won. It was just a team of girls, and we won the Silicon Valley Award, as an African. Um, so with I think 13 other cities in the world. So it was a very big win for us, and it was kind of encouraging to have trained the girls, and they were able to put the knowledge together to create something that was needed. Tatafo was a university AI campus assistant that you can ask questions. Yes, so now the fourth point here is to be able to adapt tech skills to their current profession. So we let them know how tech connect to what they do and be able to apply. So let me just go on. So just summarily, we run digital and coding academy online and on-site. So our goal is to build the largest tech academy for females in Africa. We want to be the go-to for female tech talents. Tech-shaped talents in Africa. Currently, we have over 1,000 graduates from across 7 countries in Africa. And our project partners, our project partners, we have a partnership with IBM Africa, so we're able to deliver the trainings to groups of girls and women. The Microsoft Education, American Corner, Miss Africa, the Global here. Because of my time, I have just 5 minutes. So this is just Global AI Help. They have a global mandate, and we, as a partner, are working with them. So we're going to implement, uh, you know, the frameworks in the countries where we work. Yes. So also IBM Digital Nation Africa. So that's it. Thanks for joining me. That's it. Thank you. Thank you, Kristen.
Okay, Mrs. Edwards, thank you so much. It's amazing what you're doing to encourage Africa's girl, child, and the women to get into the tech industry and help solve Africans' problems through technology. So we are very happy to have had you participate in today's event, and I'm sure that there are a lot of people that would want to ask questions. I'm sorry I can hear that some of the participants are having problems hearing what Mrs. Edwards was saying. From my side, the sound was okay. So if you really want to get all of the details again, you'll get the contact details to Mrs. Edwards through the EndNest platform, and you will get the recording at the end of this week so you can listen to what she's saying again. Okay, so without any further ado, I'm very pleased to invite my Danish compatriot, Mrs. Elizabeth Boye, who's the CEO of the Global River Center. So Elizabeth, over to you. And you need to unmute yourself, Elizabeth. So,
And would you, I just start sharing or try to share?
Yeah, David, can you help Elizabeth, please?
Yes, I have just now made you a moderator as well. So in the third option from the left, you have a screen icon, which will allow you to share your screen. Yes, perfect. We can see you now. Oh, now you turned it back off again, I think.
Continue share.
So you did something right, and then you turned it off. There we go. Yes, great.
Let me put there. Are we okay? Can you see better future youth?
Yeah, we see it perfectly. Thank you.
Yeah, we can see it in Skærm, Elizabeth.
Thank you for having me. I'm Elisabeth Boye. I am old professional, you can say, a development practitioner for a very long time, since '97, where I started working with young people in Zimbabwe, including them in the economy. So now I'm heading this initiative that is actually bringing together all the expertise and experience that I have over the years on advising on including young people and marginalized groups in value chains and linking to global markets, making use of circularity and impact investment in the process. So I'm actually very pleased to have a team of professionals with me, which are all experts in the various fields that we are touching on, which is trade, entertainment, public service and learning. But I'm going to present to you the Global River Center, which is a new initiative. We were established in 2019, and we are a impact business claiming that we are actually operating, taking our own medicine with equal focus on impact as well as the business model. And the business model is lease out of space for the right partners. Then I'll come back to who the right partners are and how that generate income, and creating jobs in that process, new jobs for youth in the next mile areas, which is areas in non-urban setting where we have around 100,000 inhabitants, or between 50 and 100,000 people. And we have an ambition, a very large-scale ambitions of building 200 global river centers across sub-Saharan Africa, counting a very bold number, saying 70% of the population in these areas are young people below the age of 30. Will have a ambition of actually making a difference and including in the economy or engaging in the economy one way or the other our young people, and we count 14 million of them in our impact ambition. So we are investing in non-urban areas. Global River Center will drive the change towards more sustainable and inclusive communities while operating a commercial business. That is our claim. We are looking into the problems that are lack of opportunities to give access and knowledge to online resources, which is very much the deficiency in the digital literacy, and in that way also the barrier that we try to address in getting access to the e-commerce opportunities and the digital economy at large. And then besides that, having the more broad focus about creating jobs for the youth, and then largely be able to involve the youth, engage the youth in democratic processes, and that also being a result of the online presence as part of that. So these are the problem areas we claim that we address, and we have this ambition of building 200 global river centers that you see the physical center in the left of this slide, and combined with a river life platform where we actually give access to the services in the center, but also engage the larger communities on the similar kind of services that we would like to offer in the center, which is very much about, as I mentioned, engaging in trade, building the skills and the learning and activities to enhance that trade, entertainment, sports particularly, and then giving access to the public services like the entrepreneurship training that the Ministry of Trade and Industry, that Department of SME Support, has been very eager to actually also be part of and use our centers to offer. We have been discussing about a radio station also, and that is very much about also local engagement, democratization processes, getting some interesting activities going in the center, giving scholarships with DJ Black on educating youth on journalism and so forth. But that may be the next step. The key is now we are focusing on starting these activities while we fundraise also for the physical center as such. And we have a prototype of the River Life platform that is about to be, filled up with our partners' engagement. We are talking with EcoBank and others that have perfect portals with youth-orientated products and skills and capacity building services. And these partners that are some way or the other supporting these 4 elements: the trade, the skills development, the entertainment or sports, and the public service delivery to the youth is where we are going to actually bridge, both having that as a digital access and also as a physical training activities taking place in the center. We are, as I mentioned, focusing on trade in the sense that we are like opening up new value chains, and I'll come back to that in these areas, because it's known that there are quite a number of actors that are helping the youth building skills. It can be technical skills and can be all sorts of skills, building a CV or curriculum vitae, and then try to also help facilitating the match of existing jobs with the youth, and of course even supporting the youth in being more confident in taking up these jobs. But we are actually claiming that we make new jobs, and how can we do that in areas why is it not happening already? It's actually because I believe we go one step backwards. We do mapping in a very sincere, old-fashioned, old-school development way, making participatory rule appraisal, mapping out all dynamics, resources that are available in that area, and then we make, like we've done on the eastern part of, in East Africa, we've done quite a bit on the coast, for instance, on making zero-waste circles, in coconut, in other nuts, in oils, in fish, and in other value chains, on how actually the output of one small production can be the input to the next. So we make these symbiosis. And that mapping out of resources, being in human resources, capital, people that are eager to invest in other small entrepreneurs, and of course the ones that have influence, formal and informal, but very much about the natural resources that are not utilized. How can that be now engaged in or used in to optimize existing value chains and then hence create new jobs, or simply creating new jobs? And then we would like that spiral to be going, and that is what we have been kickstarting already. If you get skills that can actually give you an income, it builds you as an individual. Of course, it builds you as a small community. And it is our duty to keep that cycle going of any point in time, mapping out what is then the resources that are emerging in this area, how could that be used in new ways. And we are, if I may jump, looking at this kind of partnership engagement that I should come back to. And what I would like to arrive at, because I have very limited time, is that the examples that we are currently working on the activities in the center, and that is by means and in cooperation with relevant partners that can actually support this. But we are, for instance, right now in Ghana, we're starting in Bombata, where we have the former UN ambassador as our paramount chief engaged on this. We have the first piece of land there. We have access to land other 19 places in Ghana, Liberia, and we are starting out with a productivity enhancing interventions in cocoa and starting value chains in cocoa nibs. It's a more simple process, and it is supported. It can be supported by the One District, One Factory. It is a skill that is easy to be taught. It's a technology that is not that expensive. And these investments can be done now, in this case, together with the One District, One Factory and Ministry of Trade and Industry, but also on the buyers on our side that we have engaged. There is a extensive or excessive demand for nibs. It's a new superfood. It's a open market. It is yet to be exploited, and there is a lot of opportunities even to value add on the cocoa nibs. You can coat them with syrup, and you can do various things, addressing a whole new market. So we are not competing with the chocolate industry. So we are opening up a whole new set of markets, and we are opening up a new set of skills, and at the same time trying to enhance the productivity in the cocoa production areas that are dominating crop in these areas where we are in. So that's one example where new value chain, new skills, new people can be included there, youth can be included even in the productivity interventions that we are also initiating in parallel. And we have the farmers lined up, we have the markets at the other end. We are in the process of getting it financed, at least partly, with this one district, one factory. And we, of course, would like to, whatever support we can get to get that speeded up. We are also in a dialogue with the Blue Skies on the pineapple tops that are cut off. There is a production of pineapple in the plain near Bombata where we are. And having that process of learning the skill of cutting these tops the right way so it's not harming the fruit that can go into the production as usual. But then we can use the tops to extract the fiber for garment production, an alternative, very sustainable kind of garment in that area, again, would give a new skill, and maybe we can even feed into that new trendy sector of fashion in Ghana as such, but also in the West Africa setting as such. So we are also seeing how we can possibly generate activities that are not linked or dominated by dynamics outside of West Africa, but see how we can possibly link to the economy locally. I don't know if I still have time talking, but this is our business model as such. We have space. We would like to engage in activities that we have identified as viable. We invite partners that have that capacity to do that training, who has that in their programs already. There are quite a number of very relevant partners for the Kuku training. So those we invite to actually use our facilities and rent the space for that. We have a price level that is about half or 1/3 of other training facilities in the area or in the larger cities. And we have the access to the youth, and we are decentralized. We are the next mile again. We are out there where there is limited kind of training like this. And then, of course, the trade itself, we're getting income from the activities where we attract, like SPA, we have agreement with, we even in dialogue with cafes and even small bakeries and stuff like that. The learning is, again, partners that would like to use our facilities for delivering their training. We have Africa Reframe training in photography, giving the youth access to upload the good quality pictures that they learn to take so that they can sell that on the international market for as a stock photo service that's already running. So these kind of learning facilities and partners we are engaging with, that is counting just 10%. And then again, the River Life, the whole platform there, and branded partnerships there is another income stream. So this is what we believe is a way of demonstrating that productivity is securing the impact, and the impact is also assuring that we'll keep being profitable, because if we don't deliver on the impact, we don't get the partners, we don't get the attraction either from the local stakeholders for the youth, and even from the partners that we can engage with, like Google and even Spar, and we have even at some point being approached by Starbucks. We are not that eager on that one, but there are big giant partners that are interested in what we do because we want to work at that scale that we are aiming at. Okay. Right now, yeah.
Thanks a lot, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Fantastic. I mean, it's fantastic what you're doing. It's very innovative. I have not seen anything similar to that. So we hope to see one of these river centers in Lusaka, and maybe why not in Kinshasa one day. So let's hope that you will be able to scale this excellent and very important idea in terms of bringing job opportunities and skills to the non-urban areas across the African continent. So we'll jump next to our next speaker. We're a little bit behind the program. So our next speaker is Mr. Simon Turner. He's a managing director of the Founders Institute in Ghana. That goes under the logo Great Founders Start with the Founder Institute. So Simon, over to you. Very eager to hear what you have to say about what you're doing in Founder Institute in Ghana. And Elizabeth, I think you have to stop sharing your screen so that Simon, in case he needs the screen, he can, voila. Great. Simon, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just about to share my screen.
So I'll need to make you.
I already am. David did it.
Okay, great. Okay, go ahead, Simon.
Okay, so I'm going to turn my camera off because some of it wrong. something went wrong with your screen share permissions. Please try and load again. This one. No, Christian's not letting me share it.
No. And unfortunately, David, he had to go and pick up his daughter, so he's not with us.
Just check.
I'm not sure what.
Is it? Otherwise, I can just wing it. No, it's not going to let me.
I'm sorry about that, Simon. I hope
it's right.
What you can do afterwards, you can share your presentation, and we'll share it with everyone who signed up for the event.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Maybe also, Simon, I don't know where you are in Accra. Your connection.
Thanks, Christian. Thanks for inviting as well.
Simon?
Let me stop
Yeah,
my video.
I think it's better to take off the screen, your video, because your connection is not very good. So
yeah,
that's fine.
We've got no power and I'm hotspotting. So it's a really good start.
Yeah.
But these are the challenges that we have to work around.
Exactly.
Yeah. So thanks, Christian. So I'm the managing director of Founder Institute in Ghana. And we brought it here in 2019, first as FI Accra. All FIs were in-person events, but the pandemic meant that we went virtual, which I believe has actually been a really good thing, because as my friends at MEST, I'm ex-MEST as well, said that talent is everywhere, opportunity isn't. So rather than just being in Accra, we're able to get founders from throughout Ghana to join, and the same goes for mentors. So just a bit of info about Founder Institute itself. So we're in 95 countries, over 200 cities. We've been going for 10 years. We're built on the back of our mentors. Our mentors are CEOs and founders of successful companies. And I know, like, for example, Nelson here has been a great supporter of ours as a mentor since we launched in 2019. And we're able to get many, not just Ghanaians, but mentors throughout the world now, joining the Ghana program and really ensuring that our founders get the exposure needed to be at an international level. In the last 10 years, our alumni have raised about $1.75 billion, and our portfolio is worth about $30 billion. Our footprint in Africa has been pretty low. When we started, in 2019, there was only 4 chapters going, whereas now we're up to about 17, 18. And so we're seeing some good growth. So whilst we probably don't
Sorry, Simon, we can't hear you. You got disconnected. It was just starting to get very interesting because
I'm going to switch to my iPad. Can you hear me now?
If you can resume from we lost your connection when you said that you have around 18 chapters around Africa, and then you got disconnected. So if you can continue from there.
Yeah, we have about 18 chapters in Africa. Lots of them are quite young. Lagos is the oldest and the most successful, probably. Ghana is now the second. But we're certainly getting a bigger seat at the Silicon Valley table as a continent, and being able to influence how the global program is run. From an SDG perspective, we can consider ourselves a for progress company, and by that we say that for progress and for profit aren't mutually exclusive. And with consumers being more attentive to values and causes, There's no reason that entrepreneurs can't leverage the power of the market to build for-profit companies and still make progress on the SDGs. Our program, as I said, is now virtual. We have 2 programs, on one launch track, one growth track. So launch is really ideation, growth is have a bit of they've got a bit of traction, they may be at their MVP. And we use mentors throughout the 4-month program to deliver different programs, to deliver different subjects, sorry. And the whole idea of FI is that we're pre-seed. So we sit just before Y Combinator, Techstars, that sort of thing. But what we're really focusing on is building strong, resilient companies that are going to last. So we're not looking for quantity. The program is very, very intense. So only about a quarter of those who start actually complete the program. And we're actively encouraged to tell people that this isn't for them. We're much rather focused on building really strong, resilient companies that are going to last and become job creators for the future. That's really important. And so the stats are for us that after graduation, 70% of the companies are still going after 5 years, which is certainly not the startup survival rate really globally. So we like to think that we have a lifetime support at every stage for our graduates. We have the core program, which is delivered locally. So we deliver it locally in Ghana. In the Swiss case, they deliver it in Zurich. And then if you graduate, you continue to have access to the mentors throughout the world, or we have very exclusive programs called the Funding Lab, which is basically to get you investor ready within 6 months, and then get you a first funding round. And it's very exclusive, but Ghana's done really well. Through every cohort we've had people and graduates go on to be in the follow-on programs, which is really, really great. And then on the other side, when the pandemic hit, FI decided to create a VC lab. In other words, help people with money to create funds. And so very quickly that's become huge. And they've done 6 cohorts already. They've created 205 VCs with a typical value of like around 1,500 mil to spend. And the really good thing is a lot of those are increasingly being focused towards Africa. And equally importantly, they understand our program. So we have there are already a lot of VCs that only invest in FI programs because they know the intensity of it. But now with the VC lab at the other end, we're able to create this ecosystem where we're building startups locally, and then they're building VC labs in Silicon Valley, and then we can kind of connect the dots and help everyone get funding. And the way that we do this as well and motivate everyone is through our equity collective. Now, we don't take equity, we take warrants. These last for 15 years, but we take 2.5%. And the idea behind this is that everyone has skin in the game. We get 100% attendance for everything. And when there's a liquidity event or an exit, that's when they get money. But this is why people turn up, why we're able to get such fantastic mentors for the program. And it's some people don't like it, but yep, it's not equity, it's a warrant, and we have no control over the company or anything like that. So getting on to the Ghana team. So you can't see my slides, unfortunately, but I've joined in my leadership team with Akwe Mensah, who used to be the director of classifieds for Jumia in Nigeria and Ghana, and Fifi Bedu, who's also the founder of iSpace Ghana, one of Ghana's original OG spaces and hubs, really, really respected, and it's a really awesome leadership team. Over the years, we've had 4,000 applications for our program, and we've had 33 alumni companies graduate. And it doesn't sound very many, but that's obviously about a quarter of those that started because of just how intense it is. But Ghana's quickly become the most cosmopolitan of all the programs. That means that we've had 18 countries represented on some of our cohorts. We've had 8 African nations represented on some. And 5 continents, including someone from Australia, which I never expected to be on a cohort, particularly given the time zone. some of our
sorry,
great
Simon.
graduates
You broke
are
up again,
covering
Simon.
various different
Simon, we can't hear you. If you can maybe just conclude in 1 minute, Simon.
Okay, 1 second, Christian. My power has actually just come back on.
We heard you until you mentioned there was even some people from Australia attending your program in Ghana, and then we lost your voice. If you can start from there again. I guess this is one of the inconveniences of having online training, contrary to in-person training, as it used to be in good old days.
Share slides, and my power has come back, so
okay.
I can do Q&A at the end.
Okay, great.
What are the odds?
Okay, so go ahead, Simon, for maybe the last conclusion. 2 more minutes, and then please conclude.
That's fine, Christian. Like I just said, that we're coming up to our 4th cohort in Ghana. We're always looking for great mentors and great partners to join and support us and help create like next generation of amazing startups that are going to be job creators. So get in touch with me through LinkedIn or wherever, and I'll be happy to chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Simon. Amazing program. So we very much look forward to engaging you after this event, as you know. So thank you so much for your time and for overcoming the very difficult hurdles that enterprises in Ghana and specifically in Africa in general have to be confronted to every day, lack of energy and lack of internet connection, but you still manage to do amazing work. So that's incredible. Okay, so the next speaker is Mrs. Belinda Dakwa. She's a national project coordinator for an organization called Ghana Ladies in Tech. So, so Belinda, over to you. And do you need to share your presentation, or shall I stay on like this? Belinda, can you hear me? Let me just shut this. Can you hear me, Belinda? Hopefully you're still there. I apologize that we're a bit behind schedule. I hope you're still with us. I can't see you.
Recording is on.
Yeah. I don't know if she has problems with the connection, but I don't see her. So yeah, you can share your presentation, Simon, on the EndNest, and we will also, you can send to me, I can share it to the participant afterwards. I don't know if she got disconnected or whether it's because we're behind schedule. So we'll then jump to the next speaker, and if Belinda, she comes back, she can wind up part 1 of today's program. The next speaker is Mr. Brian Achompong, who's the program manager of the Impact Hub Accra. Are you there with us, Brian? Or someone from the Impact Hub, because I was not sure whether Brian, he would be representing the Impact Hub Accra today. Okay, I see that Belinda and Brian are not with us. So if they come back, we'll hear them speak. So that gives us an opportunity to catch up on the program and move on to the second part, which is a panel discussion with our speakers. Just a second. Put that on. So, see where we are. Okay. Okay, great. So okay, so more generally speaking, just a quick and please keep your answers as short as possible so we can get through as many questions as possible in a little time that remains. So just curious to know if you have any views on the value of EndNest potentially could provide both you entrepreneurs, but also you as a market enabler. Can you see that this system or this platform will actually enable you to further expand your services to to Ghana's startups? Anyone has any immediate reactions to David Franson's presentation? Just maybe a short reaction. If not, I can't see if anyone's raising their hand, so you just need to grab the microphone if you want to say something. Another question is, as you know, we are the first session was organized with the National Advisory Board for Impact Investing in Ghana. So what role would you like to see that the National Advisory Board in Ghana plays to support your interest within the impact investing entrepreneurship system in Ghana? Do you need an national organization such as NAP Ghana to be your voice towards the regulators and policymakers? Or how do you organize yourself? While you're very complementary, there's also certain overlaps in what you're doing. Anyone has any views on that? Maybe you, Nelson, since you're also affiliated with the NAP Ghana, could speak to that question.
Yes, I will share a few thoughts on that. I think one of the key things that we need in every ecosystem is a voice that is able to really keep sustained conversations on particular issues. And with the NAP Ghana, I think the key role is how do we catalyze impact investment in the ecosystem, drawing in the holders of capital, working with market enablers, and at a point also get into the place of impact entrepreneurs and how do we all have that conference going on. So clearly there's that big role, and there's a continued need for such entities like NAP Ghana or that's Impact Invest in GH to hold that conversation and sustain that, even as other players sometimes just get in the space of just driving their own business like accelerators and co. They could keep that conversation as their core business and see kind of results we're looking for happen before the years give out.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Nelson. What are as you heard from my introduction, there are very few female-led entrepreneurs in Ghana. So what are the major challenges faced by women entrepreneurs in Ghana, and what solution does you as market enablers provide to address the challenges to have more female entrepreneurs, particularly as we heard from one of our speakers within the tech space? Maybe you, Queen Elizabeth, do you want to address that question? If you're still with us, I can't see on my screen. Anyone want to address the challenges faced by women entrepreneurs in Ghana? Are there any structural deficiencies in the ecosystem that you as market enabler could help address? Or why is it that there's a fairly low number in Ghana compared to Kenya, for example?
I'm happy to try to tackle that question a little bit. This is Emily from MES.
Yeah, go ahead, Emily.
I think I'm hearing some feedback. I don't know if someone else has their microphone on.
Yes, please shut off your microphone, please, when not speaking, because I can also hear myself speaking.
Yes.
Who has forgotten to turn off the microphone. Okay, I think you can speak now, Emily. Go ahead.
Okay, sure. So I think there's multiple factors that influence the accessibility for tech opportunities for women, specifically in Ghana. And it's something that MES has worked very hard as well to see how we can support women in getting into tech. But what we have found that still very much culturally and societally, there are some expectations, particularly for women, which I think we still face. I think that in traditional education systems as well, women are not always encouraged to pursue opportunities in STEM education. And that sometimes families have expectations that if these individuals are pursuing the STEM education, that they are then going for traditional employment. And so we have found that sometimes it's difficult, especially for like a program for MES where it's a 1-year commitment, where you're not maybe earning a high salary to take off and pursue these opportunities. I also think that it's still informing women of the opportunities and making sure that we're strategically as enablers reaching out to our women and encouraging them to join our programs. Also, it's a very male-dominated ecosystem, which can create certain barriers as well and not always make inviting spaces. So I think it's important that we strategically and carefully look at ways we can create welcoming environments, that we're educating our women on the opportunities that are out there, and that we are proactively seeking them out and encouraging them to join our programs. But I think that there are probably others who could add to that.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. So what are the biggest challenges in terms of catalyzing more finance and investment into Ghana? And what are the main solutions and experiences? You alluded to some solutions, Simon. Maybe you can take on this question from the Founders Institute perspective, of course.
Yeah, sure. I mean, so for all the FI companies, you have to be for profit, so we can't be NGOs. So we're very much looking at shares, and so we're quite VC focused. One of the challenges has been that the VCs are Western based and don't really necessarily understand the local market, or their risk appetite is like lower, I'd say. So that's why by using the VC lab to create VCs that really understand that program, it doesn't matter so much where we are, because the program speaks for itself. So it's not a one-size-fits-all solution at all, and we need more investment instruments for sure. It's going to be a problem, but that's the way we're trying to do it, is by building enough credibility in our program that it doesn't matter where we are. A graduate's ability to graduate from the program speaks for itself.
Okay, and do you also collaborate by any chance with the Ghana's investment promotion agency, particularly in addressing the fact that I could understand from the AVPA report that there's not a legal distinction between, for example, an impact enterprise, a social enterprise. So there's this issue of you can't use a tax instrument, for example, to facilitate investment going into impact startups. Who's lobbying the Ghana's investment promotion agency or the regulators to help with those of you who operate within the impact entrepreneurship sector?
Yeah, I mean, certainly I have discussions behind the scenes on that one, but not we're not publicly. So I'd probably say, Nelson, you might be able to answer that. I think Josiah, for example, of iSpace, is certainly having some conversations, but it's not easy. And I know so ironically, the person that we're picking to pitch on Thursday is going through some challenges with GIPC at the moment as well. So there's certainly some barriers that we really need to overcome.
Okay. I was hoping that we could have had the Impact Hub Accra with us today, because I could understand that they have started building something that they call the Osu Oku area, which is the city's innovation district and the Nurse Center for Accra's entrepreneurs and bold thinkers. I just wonder, where are you located in Accra? Are you scattered around the city, or there's a kind of a special economic zone or ecosystem where the different market enablers are all concentrated, creating a kind of cluster or how does that work? What is the setup in Accra amongst the market enablers? Those of you who operate in a city, unlike Elizabeth Boy, who's out in the peri-urban areas.
Christian, can I quickly jump in on the previous question on engaging
Yes, please go ahead.
GRPC as
Go
well?
ahead.
So in terms of regulations, a business is either a for-profit limited liability company in Ghana or a non-profit limited by guarantee. For the past 4 or 5 years, there's been a sustained engagement by Social Enterprise Ghana with the Ghana Ministry of Trade and Industry to see how there could be regulation that allows you to set up what you call a social enterprise. So that is something that's ongoing. It's been a long, drawn battle, but hopefully there could be headway over time. In terms of GIPC as well, there is also the minimum capital requirement for investors, and there is the ongoing Ghana Startup Act conversation, which seeks to draw out some of these challenges to see how they could remove those barriers which prevent especially foreign investors from investing in a local ecosystem. So these two conversations are currently ongoing, and we're hoping to have more results soon. In terms of location, I think most of us are scattered across the city, and also with partner hubs in other parts of the country where we run joint programs together sometimes. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Nelson. And maybe the second last question to you, Elizabeth. What does the Global River Center bring to Ghana, since you're coming from outside the country, that is different from some of the offerings that you heard from the other speakers today? And what makes you unique in your domain? If you're still with us, Elizabeth. Can't see since I'm sharing my screen. Maybe I should remove that. Are you still Elizabeth?
Sorry, which Elizabeth?
Sorry,
Is it
Elizabeth Boy.
my Elizabeth?
Yeah, from the Global River Center. I will just, if she's still there. If not, I don't know if she's still there. I can't see her. Okay, so I did have a question for you, Mrs. Edwards. Actually, I have many questions for you, but we have to wrap up in the next few minutes. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you, just my list of questions. Why is it? Yeah, I mean, what is your experience? I mean, in Ghana, you said you're operating in 7 countries across Africa. How do you see? I mean, you want to be the biggest academy providing these technical skills for women across Africa. So, what are the gaps that you have identified, and how specifically do you think your academy, with support of I think you mentioned IBM, or was it Google? They can help address the market gap when it comes again to the issue of lack of females in the tech, specifically in the tech industry, particularly giving the important role that technologies can play in helping Ghana leapfrog and accelerate the trajectory towards achieving the SDGs.
Okay, thank you for that question. I think that's an important question to for us. And when you asked about our what we're doing in Ghana, and how we would like the project players to together to. All right. So one of the things that we've been able to. Okay, let me first say that um, we've done much more work through our community based approach to reaching out to the women and the girls. And the selling point for us is that, okay, we're providing a gender friendly space, and for them to learn about technology. And one other, would I call a selling point? I know I mentioned that earlier. Just permit me to use that again. Is that we're able to break it down so well, like the coding classes, make it very relatable, so they can actually, for instance, we have this code in 1 hour um, session where they learn the the syntax, just how, let's say, PHP works, and they're able to build applications, look out for problems around, just create a simple application to solve something, like right in the class. Now, looking at the project players like the IBM Africa and all that, fitting all that into the context of of where we are hoping to impact, to encourage women to come out. Okay, let me just speak on one of the challenges we've had. One of the challenges we have is the syndrome, that's that mentality that technology is for, and it's not attractive, like, right, and all that. So our approach right now is that we actually focus on like an incubation approach, so that we are providing the environment to learn, also to network with other women. So women kind of like, that situation where they're able to look up to role models, um, you being there for them to, through that process of learning and adapting what they've learned to actually create solutions that solve the problem. Yes, I hope answering your question.
Yeah,
I know I've said a lot.
thank you very much, Miss Edward. Yeah, the
Okay.
connections was not so good, but we got the gist of
Oh,
what you're saying. So thank you so much for
sorry.
that answer. I will just ask the last question, and maybe Emily and Simon, you can try and give it a go. And that's the fact that this venture capital model, which is now slowly trickling down to the African continent, um, is it working the way it should do in terms of matching demand with supply? As you know, for many years, the venture capital industry was concentrated in Silicon Valley, and I think there was a saying that said anything west or east of I think even east of California, it will be very difficult for tech startups to look for funding. So, Elizabeth, you mentioned that you are located in your hubs are mainly in Accra, Lagos, Cape Town, and Nairobi, and now you're also setting up in Senegal. So, is it realistic to think that you can have tech hubs, giving the experience in America in other cities? And how can you break out of this concentration of non-African venture capital funds that seems to be focusing on the usual suspects, which are those 5, 6 hubs around the continent? How do we get venture capital resources into other places that do not necessarily have the same ecosystem that you have already built up in Accra and we've seen in Lagos last month when we had our webinar there? Uh, what would be your solutions? I know that you also mentioned, Simon, that you have 18 chapters on across the continent, but is it realistic that you'll find the same kind of success in, I don't know, in some of the less known in destinations?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll answer that. Oh, sorry. Go.
Oh, it's okay. You can start, Simon. Thank you.
Okay. Cheers. Thanks. Again, I'd answer the same thing, that it doesn't, with our model, it shouldn't really matter where you are because the program's exactly the same. It's contextualized certainly for the local market, but we deliver the same program with mentors globally. So, for example, if we do a session on customer development, for example, I might pick a Ghanaian, a diaspora, or someone within Africa, and then someone totally different that has maybe never even been here, just to expose the startups and the founders to different ideas and different thoughts. But the idea is that if you get through the program, it's as rigorous in Ghana it's as rigorous in Uganda. I watched the graduates there yesterday, and they were fantastic, and just at the same level as they are here. And I watched them.
But I guess what I'm getting at, Simon, is can you bring everything online? Don't you also have to have a physical ecosystem in these countries where some of your participants are coming from, that you might not find, that you find in Lagos, but you might not find in Burkina Faso or Ouagadougou or places like that, Bamako?
Don't know.
But there must be a reason, Elizabeth, why you're concentrating in those places. Is because you realize that there's a limit to how much you can do online, and you also need to have a physical, vibrant ecosystem to help these founders, in addition to what you can provide them online. No, in your choices of hubs.
Well, so I believe that actually we can make impact both physically and online. So I do think that the approach from a variety of partners is important, and I think many different players can take different approaches. For MEST, we focus primarily in person. I mean, that is our model for training and education. But we actually bring individuals from different countries to Ghana so that we can be all together and learn together and create a Pan-African network that can then go back to various countries and work out of our hubs and create a network across the continent. But I do think there's a variety of ways to train and support and encourage entrepreneurs across the continent. But we have found for our model, it's most effective, especially for a one-year program, to be physically in person.
Okay. Okay. Just the last couple of minutes. Are there any of the in the audience who have any last burning questions that you would like to raise with our excellent speakers? So please mention your name and your affiliation, and keep the questions short if there's any questions. I need to go out. So.
Okay, thank you. Good evening from here. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, go ahead. We can hear you.
Yes, I'm Gideon Awalana Blusa from Giwalan Company Limited. I want to ask a question, and my question is directed to Elizabeth, the one that presented on the Global Rivers Center. I wanted to ask her, the possible means if a firm would want to partner with them, how they could come in to partner with them and all of that. Yeah, from Ghana. So I wanted to know if organizations want to partner with them, because we also what some of the things that we do is into rural, kind of empowerment and all of that. So I wanted to know how we can also collaborate with them to create an impact. Yes, thank you.
Thank you for your question, Elizabeth. If you can unmute yourself. Elizabeth Boy, I should say. Elizabeth, can you hear us? She's there. I can see her, but I don't know. Her connection was not so good. She's not in Copenhagen. She's out in a more remote part of Denmark. So I don't know if she can answer. If not, as you know, the nice thing about the Endness is that whoever wants to connect after this event, you can get the list of participants and you can write directly to all of the participants if they decide to set up a free profile on Endness, so you can continue the conversation and you can have a direct conversation through the platform, either in writing or orally. Okay, I guess Elizabeth, she has a problem with the connection. So I think, are there any last question that anyone would like to raise before we close? No. Okay.
Christian, I'll just add that I think that one of the strengths actually with Ghana's ecosystem is that it is quite connected, that all the hubs do work together, and whether
Well, Simon, at least we got to hear that there's a great collaboration between market enablers in Ghana. Of course, we know your competitors, but also in order to develop the ecosystem, it's important that you work across the hubs. So sorry for interrupting you, Simon. It's just that your connection, we can't hear what you're saying, but we did hear the most important message, which is that there are great collaboration happening on the ground in Accra, and that is great to hear. And I'm sure that Nelson and his colleagues in the National Advisory Board in Ghana is helping to facilitate that collaboration. So allow me to conclude, since my colleague, who's actually based in the Czech Republic currently, Mrs. Chama, is not able to be with us today, but she will be with us on Thursday. Just allow me to use very briefly to tell you about the SIIA-4IP ESG toolkit, which has been designed to help you measure, monitor, and magnify your positive social and environmental impact. SIIA's ESG toolkit for impact enterprises is based on the fact that we have witnessed by working with more than 100 Zambian SMEs since 2017 to help them raise capital for growth. Most SMEs in Zambia are not able to tap into various sources of domestic and international impact capital. So this is not because the SME's product and services lack a positive impact on society, but simply because they lack a guiding tool to help them tell their impact story while making them more investment ready. So based on this first-hand capital raising and investment matchmaking experience in Zambia, this has led us to identify this important market gap. So consequently, 4IP Group with Impactpreneur Africa Limited developed our ESG framework, the ESG toolkit, which helped business transition from conventional to social enterprises. And the ESG toolkit comprises of 7 steps, you can see in the visual, that will guide this journey of transitioning into becoming impact enterprises. It offers capacity building trainings which help businesses realize the need for impact consideration as agents of change in countries working to promote green inclusive economies. And the aim is to help these businesses identify a few key ESG outcomes to be addressed through their business development and entrepreneurial activities. An ESG toolkit as an investment readiness framework does not only help businesses access impact capital, but also help them maximize contribution to society's well-being through their activities. So in conclusion, the next event will be this Thursday, the 7th of July at 5 Central European time, which is similar to Central African time. It's our 4th quarterly e-pitching event. And the basically idea is that the speakers that we heard today, they have each been given the opportunity to select one of their graduates from their excellent programs to do a 5 minutes pitch for investors in our investor network. So you're more than welcome to join us on Thursday. The full program will be circulated tomorrow around noon with all of the companies pitching, so that the investors who's with us today, they know who will be pitching on Thursday. And then after the summer break, we'll resume with an event together with the Swiss Impact Investing Association, focusing on the role of institutional investors within the impact investing ecosystem. And we learned at the previous webinar with the NAP Ghana that a number of institutional investors in Ghana has actually started to invest in the VC PE alternative asset class. And of course, there's experience with that in Switzerland. And I know that the NAP in Nigeria and the NAP in Zambia is working hard to make this kind of investment happen as well. And then the last quarter of the year, we'll launch our 5th edition of the Impact Investor Series, which will be focusing on Kenya, with a focus on the ecosystem, the market enablers, and then an e-pitching event just before Christmas. So with these words, I would like to thank all of our speakers again for your participation and sharing the fantastic work that you're doing in Ghana and beyond on the African continent. The event will be sure to be uploaded, as I said in the beginning, on 4IP Groups and the CS YouTube channels. For those of you who wish to watch the presentations again, please do share them with your Impact Investor Network. And should you wish to further engage with the organizers or the panelists, please do reach out directly to us using the contact details that you see on the screen. All that remains to say is to wish you a happy, healthy, and successful time until we meet again soon, either on Thursday or at one of our next events. And thank you again to our speakers and to the listeners. I'm wishing you all a great evening and see you soon. Calvin, I'll see you. I'll see you at 9 o'clock. Let me stop.
Yes, yes. Hi, Christian. At 9, that's right. I think one thing to appreciate about